With this brief introduction, here I invite Sir Abhijit Kelkar Sir, Regional Council Member, for extending warm welcome to Sir Aniket Talati Sir.
Thank you so much, CA Anuji, MOC of this particular track. CA Aniket Talati, I would say a famous CCM, CA Vishal Doshi, Vice Chairman WRC, CA Rikin Patel, Treasurer Baroda Branch. Thank you very much, Baroda Branch, for this opportunity to share my views with all the participants. I compliment the Baroda Branch for this 2 days sub-regional conference, and I believe the various sessions that will be addressed by eminent faculties will be benefit all the members. Today, we are having a session on RERA, which is, I believe, a most important topic. And we have none other than CA Aniket Talati, who is a master so far as this particular topic is concerned. And I believe with his words of wisdom and with his own perspective about the entire gamut of this particular legislation, I believe entire participants will be benefited for sure. And as a legacy, all the Baroda branch committee members are having wonderful programs day in and day out, and I'm sure this kind of having different programs, this legacy will be continued in years to come. I'm sure about this. So thank you very much, Baroda, for this opportunity. Thank you, Aniket Bhai, for again interacting with you, though online. And I'll be with you throughout the session to listen what you are telling us about the RERA. And I'm sure the entire session will be beneficial as it has been planned. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful day to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for boosting Baroda branch confidence. Thank you, sir, for supporting us in every workshop and every conferences. I now request Sir Aniket Talati, sir, to take over the charge of the session.
Thank you very much to the MOC, CA Enu Khandelwal, for taking charge of the session and thankfully starting on time. I really appreciate the professionalism with which Baroda has been running this entire seminar, right from planning the sessions to having these breakout sessions and making sure that things start on time. So compliments. I think all of you have a role, and so does the MOC. My dear friend, first let me go to our Vice Chairman of WIRC, Vishal Bhai, who's been leading the charge. Very challenging year in terms of the regional council also, because of all the restrictions that have been put in place by the pandemic. And yet the entire executive committee, the office bearers of WIRC have done a phenomenal job in ensuring that the dissemination of knowledge doesn't suffer during this pandemic. And I think some record participation has been seen in the entire events of WIRC, right from the DTRC, the other programs that the WIRC traditionally used to host in a physical mode. And now they have, in such a beautiful fashion, accepted, adopted, and implemented the technology that we are able to interact with thousands of participants over all these sessions. So compliments to you, Vishal Bhai, and the entire team, Lalit Bhai in his absentia. My dear friend Abhijit Ji, with whom I had the pleasure of sharing the regional council for 3 years, a very dear friend, very knowledgeable, very well read. It may be GST, it may be any other area of audit or taxation. Abhijit Ji was always contributing, and I'm a really valued friend. So thank you, Abhijit Bhai, for the introduction, and my dear friend Rikin Bhai from Baroda branch, the entire team of Baroda. Thank you very much for inviting me today. I had the privilege of coming to Baroda maybe a month and a half ago on a very different topic. Inuji mentioned about my role as chairman of FRRB. And I was so pleasantly surprised that in that session, which dealt with accounting standard compliances, more importantly, auditing standard compliances, the Baroda branch was able to get such good participation. And we could discuss all the common areas where our chartered accountants in practice tend to err and make mistakes, not knowingly, but because of the complexity of the standards, or sometimes not having enough knowledge of what is the right standard to apply. It may be in the case of audits, it may be specifically in the case of certificates, where all of them We are used to just giving a certificate title to whomsoever it may concern. We discussed on the guidance note which the institute came up in 2016 on certificates and what should be the real format of certification, on projections, and that is going to be very useful when we discuss RERA today, of how the SAE and the SRS issued by the ICI and the whole gamut of engagement standards is very useful for us in our day-to-day life. So thank you, Baroda, for inviting me on that session. And from there, we are now jumping to RERA, which is again, like Abhijit mentioned, very close to my heart because I had the privilege of being associated with this act before its inception, that is at the drafting stage, then when it got enacted, and more importantly, all the rules of Gujarat state that got notified. I had the privilege of working very closely with the government in my professional capacity to ensure that we could implement this RERA. So it may be the forms that we are filling in, it may be the process of verification, and all of that. I had a very good experience of working firsthand with the honorable chairperson of RERA, all the members of the board, and the entire staff. We started with a 3-4 person team, and today there are 100+ people in the authority, and it's been a great journey. I'll try and discuss in this 1 hour that I have been given about the opportunities that lies in RERA. And Inuji mentioned that it's complex. Believe me, for us as chartered accountants, it's not complex. It is just we have to understand the law. It's a very simple law. The rules are very simple, and the procedure has been now made entirely online. So therefore, there is no need for somebody in Baroda to go to Gandhinagar for the registration, which used to happen earlier. You can very well do the entire communication online. And now with RERA 2.0, which will be launched shortly, it is going to be a huge technological change, which will ensure that though you are sitting in Baroda as a chartered accountant in practice, you will be able to attend to real estate clients across the state. And as the implementation of RERA moves forward, eventually they will not only cover planning areas, that is Buda, Oda, Suda areas, but also go out and cover the entire state of Gujarat. All real estate development of the state will fall within the ambit of RERA, and therefore opportunities will also increase. So with this, let me first and foremost take you to the first and preliminary question of why was this act enacted? Why did the government have to come up with a centralized act to legislate RERA? Let's remember, all state governments already had certain acts for regulating their residential sales and office commercial sales. Maharashtra had its own act, MOFA, is if I can remember correctly. Gujarat had GOFA, which is the Gujarat Owners of Flat Act, which used to tell us what is carpet area, how we are supposed to sell real estate. Now, even today, these acts are not repealed, and therefore GOFA still exists in Gujarat, but the need was felt, especially at a central level, to ensure that not just every state has its own act. Some of them had, some of them didn't even have an act for this. There was a need to have a central act to ensure that the real estate industry could be regulated, could be put on a common platform, and especially when there is a vision of taking India to a $5 trillion economy, when people will have to be easily mobile, move from Ahmedabad to Baroda, from Baroda to Surat, from Surat to Bangalore, for example, the real estate in each of these states must speak the same language. More importantly, what happened during that time, and this act was introduced by our Vice President of India, then the Union Minister for Housing, and Venkaiah Naidu ji, when he was the minister, he introduced this in both houses of parliament. And during that phase, you would have all recollected, the entire real estate industry was in the news for all the wrong reasons. Every now and then we were listening to one developer in NCR region, in the north, or maybe in other parts of the country also, not being able to complete the projects. People who would have paid their entire life's money to acquire a real estate, their money was then not being used for the purpose of construction, but was siphoned away, maybe towards different projects or even for their own personal pecuniary gains. Such was the menace that real estate industry had got into. And believe me, this was a very sad state of affairs because real estate as an industry, we do not regard builders as a community of businessmen or as somebody who holds as much regard and respect in the community and society as manufacturers. But it's a very sad way because in fact, real estate is one of the largest employers of the country. After agriculture and as an industry, if you look at, real estate employs the highest number of people in the construction era. Yet, because of a few aberrations that happened specifically in the north and in other parts of the country, the need was felt to regulate this act. So, to bring parity and to regulate, to make sure that nobody is able to siphon off or fleece innocent home buyers of their lifelong savings, this act was enacted. હું ઘણીવાર લોકોને સેશનમાં કહેતો હોઉં છું કે રિયલ એસ્ટેટ નો જે બિઝનેસ છે, in any other business you are either selling goods or you are selling services. Real estate is an industry in which you are actually, yes, for the GST people, you are selling goods plus service because there is a composite service, as you would like to call it. But in fact, in my view, as a real estate developer, you are not just selling good or service, you are selling dreams. To buy a house is the lifetime dream of any person. He puts his entire life savings and gives it to you as a real estate developer to ensure that he can get the dream house. And therefore, the responsibility of the industry increases manifold, as pharma has its own risks and relevance, and more importantly, the responsibility that whatever they are making, it has to be efficacious. The vaccines we are discussing, they must be effective, but there must not be a side effect. So they have a responsibility. Similarly, in my view, real estate, you are not selling goods and services only, you are selling and dealing with people's dreams. And therefore, you have to be very careful in ensuring that nobody's dreams are spoiled and crushed because of some rare elements greed. Also, what is very important to understand is that the real estate market earlier was totally unregulated in the central form. And therefore, this act, the Real Estate Regulation Act, which not only has the word regulation, but also has the word development in it. So the purpose of the act was to strengthen and protect prospective buyers, because if there is a fraudulent developer, because of all the protections that this act has, which we will discuss, that gets protected. It weeds out unscrupulous builders. You would all acknowledge, it may be Baroda, it may be Ahmedabad, it may be Surat, it may be any city in Gujarat. A lot of times what used to happen was, somebody would say, I want to become a real estate developer. He may not have any necessary skills or requisite knowledge of the industry. He may not be architect, engineer. That's a separate thing. He does not even have the wherewithal or the resources to enter into a project. He would simply say that I have identified this piece of land, and go and do a bana khat with him or a sata khat with him, as we call it in Gujarati, and say, I will buy this piece of land from you for X value. He did not have that money also. Simply by putting up a board on that piece of land and saying, coming soon, Aniket Talati Constructions presents dream homes, I would then go to my close circles, collect funds from them saying, this is pre-booking amount. From that booking, I would pay the landowner. Then from the next installments, I would build and do the construction. Nowhere in the world can you run any industry without putting your own capital. But this is what was happening in the state, where some people who did not have any resources were trying to claim builders. And when the cycle is running fine, everybody's paying on time, it's okay. But one bad cycle, one economic slump, and the person doesn't pay, you do not have the resources to pay the land. And what ends up is that Aniket Talati property that I spoke to you about, I do not have any right, title, or interest in that land because I have not been able to pay full consideration. The landowner will not transfer the land to me. You have purchased some real estate from me, and I'm not able to deliver the 6th floor to you because, in fact, I have not even begun construction. And the entire cycle stopped. And so many stalled projects are there even today in Gujarat. So therefore, it is not just strengthening, but also preventing such unscrupulous builders from entering the industry. So yes, you wanted to stop unscrupulous buyers. You wanted to strengthen the framework for buyers, that if Aniket is today wants to buy a flat in Ahmedabad, I know what is 4,000 square feet carpet in Ahmedabad. That will be the same 4,000 square feet in Baroda, Surat, Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata. Because earlier, each of us had a different super built up. And you would have to guess, Baroda ma ketlu super built up છે 35%, Ahmedabad ma ketlu છે 40%, Surat ma ketlu છે, Rajkot ma ketlu છે. And it was impossible for a buyer from outside of the city to invest in the real estate. Now, with common language, with a common definition, all of this is possible. So this was the main reason why RERA was introduced. What is the status? This is as of last year, a very interesting slide I would like to draw your attention to. And especially since we are at the WIRC forum, which covers the state of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Goa, and the Union Territories of Diu Daman and Dadra Nagar Haveli, you can look in front of you in the screen. On completion of 2 years of RERA, India had some 43,000 registered projects. And not to anybody's surprise, 22,000 of these projects are in the state of Maharashtra. 6,200 were in Gujarat. That number is now more than 7,500, but this is as of the date that the authority released these figures. And I have a comparative chart of the entire country. And a matter of pride for all of us from Gujarat, that Gujarat had the second highest number of registrations. Even today, we are the second largest state in terms of registrations for real estate. And that speaks volumes about the construction industry which is happening, the real estate industry which is happening in the state, and more importantly, how it is attracting real estate. Maharashtra was obviously going to be the first because of the sheer size of Mumbai, but now because of the development that is happening in the state, it's a matter of pride that we have almost 7,500, 8,000 plus registrations in the state of Gujarat. And these projects have an investment potential of 1.85 lakh crore. And when I'm talking to chartered accountants, I think we all have to appreciate and understand when almost 2 lakh crore worth of investment is happening. It is not just that this real estate is going to be built. So many things around it will have to be built. The cement industry, the sand, the royalty which has to be paid, the steel industry, the other ancillary industries which go, the ceramic industry which supports the flooring, all of this gets a boom. And I think as chartered accountants, we have to realize that if we are not able to capture and gauge and understand what are going to be the future areas which will give us opportunities professionally, I think we're missing the bus. Everybody's doing GST, and therefore I only do my GST practice. If that is my understanding, fair enough. But if you want to do a newer area, you want to get into a specialized area, this is an act which is very new. And I would encourage all the participants who are listening to this session, look at this area from that perspective, that how do I master the entire gambit of real estate? And then my firm can provide end-to-end real estate solutions, not just a project registration or filing their quarterly return or annual return, but consulting from start to end of real estate. Which are the areas which are developing? Which are the areas in which there is demand? And I will have a beautiful slide at the end where I've tried to show the entire map of Baroda, and more importantly, which areas in Baroda are getting highest traction. And that is how we need to change our focus of practice. You would have heard the Honorable President, Vice President speak. You had Anil Bhai speak before me on a session, and they would have all told you that now it is not just about the traditional forms of accounting or chartered accountancy that we've all been engaged in. We as professionals have to identify and specialize in newer areas of practice. And this RERA, not just RERA, but entire domain of real estate is a huge area where a lot of solutions can be provided by us as chartered accountants. Only thing is, are we ready to think out of the box? Are we ready to move from the role of problem finder to a solution provider? And therefore, if a client of yours comes to you and says, I want to put a project in, for example, any part of Baroda, you can tell him, no, it is not this area which is going to be successful. I am seeing based on the RERA registrations that the highest demand right now of project sales is coming from area X. And therefore, it is more viable for you to develop your real estate in this area rather than area Y. That is what clients will appreciate. Rather than you telling them, let's do LLP or private limited, this is the tax structure, this is what you can plan your GST. Yes, that is all important. But if you have your real role, if you ask me as chartered accountants of yours and mine, is going to be how we are able to provide these solutions. And let me show you one small example of, I hope this map is visible in your screen. I was going to share it at the end, but this is the kind of intelligence of data analytics, more importantly of business acumen that you can provide to your clients. And here you can see this is the map of Baroda. All of you who are from Baroda will recognize the areas here. So the cluster of Undera, Vemali and Sama, they have 56 projects. But Bhaili has 105 projects. So that is where on the western side of Baroda, the maximum development is happening. And therefore, if a client comes to you and says, this is the quality of project, this is what I want to do, this data analytics, this importance is going to ensure that you are able to provide them the solution. I have this slide on the deck for another reason, which we will discuss when we go there. So let me now come back to our presentation and to the point that I made, that yes, as consultants, as solution providers, don't just look at RERA from a registration and a quarterly return and annual return perspective, or even from the appellate perspective. Look at it from how you can specialize in the entire real estate domain. Inuji in her introduction mentioned that I have been working in the US almost 15 years now, working with the real estate developers there. And that is what accountants world over are doing. They are specializing in not just compliance work of their clients, that is to say RERA or income tax, GST, accounting, other services, but becoming advisors and solution providers. And that is what I wanted to discuss in today's session, that let's try and look at RERA from that perspective, look at our role dealing with the real estate industry from that perspective. And then I'm sure there will be huge opportunities for all of you who decide to take the plunge, expertise in real estate, and can take up the entire project from start to end of which area should we develop, what should be, for example, the quality of construction which people prefer, what is the cost, how do you calculate FSI, which area, what is going to be your allowability of construction. Believe me, very few of us actually specialize in this. And then we say, oh no, clients in this industry or for chartered accountants, they don't bear the fees. Honestly, it is our lack of going deeper and trying to understand from the core of, if this is the land, what is the FSI, what is the construction, what is the demand, what kind of construction I should do, whether it should be a luxurious or whether it should be a affordable housing, what should be the price point at which you should sell. If we are able to provide these solutions to real estate developers, believe me, fee is not going to be a constraint. In fact, all of you would agree that this is one industry and these are one set of clients which actually are very good paymasters. And think, if they are paying you for your compliance services in this level, what will be the level of payout when you're able to give them value added services. So therefore, this important diagram that I had in front of you, just to share with you the perspective of RERA across the country, and more importantly, where it is headed in Gujarat. If you look at the act, honestly, very small, crisp act of how it has been drafted, and its objective very clearly laid out. If you look at section 1 and 2, it talks about the scope, that is now it covers the whole of India, and the definitions, very important definitions covered. Like I mentioned in the beginning, carpet area is now the same. If you're buying in Baroda, Ahmedabad, Surat, Rajkot, or Bangalore, or Chennai, or even Delhi, you will now have the same definition of carpet area, built up area. So no longer calculating super built up to carpet. 3 to 8 talks about registration, and very important for us, and those of you who are trying to understand this act for the first time, in RERA, registration doesn't happen of the developer. So if I am, like the example I gave you, Aniket Talati developers, I will not register my company with the authority. If I take up a project in Sama in Baroda, then that project will have to be registered with the authority. And therefore, the registration is of the project. The section 3 to section 8 mention about which projects are liable to be registered, what is the process of registration, and not just the projects that have to be registered. The act also simultaneously provides that agents who are selling, જેને આપણે ગુજરાતીમાં દલાલ કે broker કહીએ, એ જે agent છે, agents also have to get registered with under the act, and that registration is as per section 9 and 10 of the RERA Act. The section 11 to 18 forms the core and crux of the act. These discuss the functions and duties of the promoters. This, I believe, is one of the largest and the biggest changes that has happened in the act, in the industry, where very clear cut duties have been laid down on the promoter, what he is supposed to do. I have divided these duties into 4 or 5 parts, which we will be discussing in the next slide, but very important sections 11 to 18. If you were to ask me that I want to practice in the appellate work for RERA, well, these are probably going to be the most important sections that you will be dealing with. 19, this is not a one-way act કે બધી જ જવાબદારીઓ ડેવલપર ને બિલ્ડર ની છે. There is rights as well as duties that have been cast upon the allottees, એટલે કે જે રિયલ એસ્ટેટ ના બાયર્સ છે એમની પણ જવાબદારીઓ છે, એમના અધિકાર છે. They have a right that they have to get the property, they must get it conveyanced, they must get a clear title, all of that. But more importantly, there are also duties that he has to register and buy the project. So now he cannot say, no, I am traveling, I will not come for the registration. The duties cast on him to buy the property, to register, to become a member of the cooperative society or whichever is being formed as an association to ensure the welfare of the house owners. There is also a duty on him to make sure that he has to pay all the installments that have been agreed upon in the agreement of sale or બાનાખત. અને જો એ ના ભરે તો એને પણ વ્યાજ ચૂકવવાનું છે. That has now been very clearly and categorically provided in the act. So the balance is there. It covers developers and agents. It covers the developers as well as the buyers, that is the allottees. That is section 19. 20 to 39 discuss about the authority, how the chairperson is appointed, how the administration, what is the powers and the functions. It is covered in section 20 to 39. Section 40 talks about recovery of interest. The 43 to 58 is the RERA tribunal. Again, a very good area of practice for chartered accountants. We have CAs who are practicing in tax audit, in income tax, in ITAT, in GST audits, and then going to GST, that is a CSTAT. Similarly, the RERA tribunal also has a great opportunity for chartered accountants besides the advocates. 59 to 72 talks about penalties and offenses, and it covers all the penalties applicable to developers as well as allottees. 73 to 78 is about the authorities' own accounts and finance, how C&AG will audit, how their funds must be maintained, and the miscellaneous powers are given in the 79 to 92 sections. So this is the broad layout of the act. We will then discuss, like I told you, the most important part of the act is the responsibilities, the functions, and the duties of the promoters that have been given. I have tried to divide the entire act into these 5 pillars. આપણે કોઈ બી બાંધકામ કરીએ જગ્યાનું તો પિલર અને કોલમ સૌથી અગત્યનો રોલ પ્લે કરતો હોય છે. એ જ રીતે what is the pillars of this act? Well, it brings in financial discipline. Huge amount of financial discipline. We'll discuss how. Transparency, pardarshita, clarity to the buyer, clarity to the home buyer, to the developers, accountability on both parts, on the developer to complete the project, to complete the quality project as per all the specifications he has given, to make sure it is completed on time, and accountability of the buyers to make sure that they are completing their part. Customer centricity. Customer is the king. It's an old saying. Even Mahatma Gandhi, you can see him behind me. I'm actually sitting in the New Delhi office of ICAI, and therefore you can see the image of Bapu behind us. And he always used to mention that it is not the customer who is doing you a favor by buying goods from you. He is actually your God who's coming to you and giving you an opportunity to serve him. And I think if we understand that concept that even Mahatma Gandhi, though not being an economist or a businessman, has given us, I think this concept of customer centricity can be even better understood. And most important, another pillar is that of compliance. Very important because all of us as chartered accountants are interested in it. That is where our area of practice and our role comes into. And let me mention very categorically and very honestly, I believe in this act, the importance that has been given to chartered accountants is far, far more than in any other act of the country. And I'm saying it with a lot of consciousness. I know the opportunities in income tax, in GST and the GST audit, but all of those places, you have competition. For example, under the Income Tax Act, you have tax advocates, tax practitioners, others who are practicing. Under the GST Act, you have cost accountants and other advocates who are practicing. Your entire importance is given to chartered accountants. Our word is the final word. The architect and engineer gives a certificate. After that, we give our certificate. They give it on a quarterly basis. Chartered accountants give it quarterly, and then the auditor certifies it annually. Every part of the way, the entire crux of this act is that we as chartered accountants, as conscious keepers of this country, will ensure that the compliance of the real estate is happening as per the registration. The project is moving in that direction. The funds which are coming into the project are being utilized for the purpose of the project, and therefore very important onerous duty cast upon us. Like we discussed, the columns, the purpose of this act, well, it's to improve the perception that builder lobby, loko kehta hoye che, well, this is now a real estate industry. This has given them a right to be called as an industry, and there is a uniform regulatory environment across the country. The question then comes, when we discussed about who gets registered, and I said it is not the company, it is the project which gets developer. So XYZ developers or builders may have 5 projects, then they will have 5 separate registrations, and the registrations life cycle is from the project's perspective. So then what gets developed? Well, it's commercial and residential projects which are under development. They are covered for the purpose of registration. So it may be a commercial, it may be mixed used, it may be only residential, or it may be a plotted development that you're doing. All these projects are subject to being registered and are governed by the act. Is there a minimum limit for registration? Yes, there is. The act provides that if the land under development is more than 500 square meters, so if the plot size that you are selling to your buyers exceeds 500 square meters, or it is or not and, or your number of units are more than 8. So if you have a small project in less than 500 square meters, but you are selling 12 units, you will be subject to registration. If you have only 2 or 3 units, but the plotting size is more than 500 square meters, you are still subject to registration. So this has been done to ensure that there is no unnecessary burden on smaller developers. At the same time, all medium and large developers get covered under the RERA Act. The projects which do not have a completion certificate before the commencement of Act. So when the Act came into being in July 2017, that is when, if there were projects, Jinu BU ke permission nati final, those projects were also covered. And it was very clearly mentioned that if in an existing project you are doing, for example, a renovation or repair, even if jointly you are doing a redevelopment, it is not required for registration. But when is the registration required in redevelopment? If you are going to, for example, sell new units, there is an existing flat with, let's say, 20 units. You break it down, you build new 20 units. Each of us who had 1 unit gets 1 unit back. No need for registration. But if the project is, the building is demolished, there are 30 units which come up, and you want to offer those additional 10 units for sale, and therefore you will be doing marketing, advertising, and selling activity for this, then registration will be required, because registration under the Act kicks in if you want to market, advertise, sell, or even intend to sell any real estate project. That is when the registration of the project is compulsory. So with this, we have discussed about the needs, why this act had to be enacted, what is the purpose, what was the legislature's intent of having an act for real estate. We've been able to discuss how our role as chartered accountants has to evolve from just being solution provider to problem finder to a solution provider. And we've also been able to go through the skeleton of the act and how the duties of the promoters and the duties of the allottees, that is the buyers, is enacted. What are the projects which are liable to registration? And now we will discuss the 5 pillars that we had in the initial slide, which is the core or the crux of the act. The first pillar is of that of financial discipline. The act ensures and entails that there is huge amount of financial discipline that now comes into the project. Earlier, like we discussed, many developers used to launch a project. If they had already acquired the land or some portion of the land, any money which comes in, they would guess and gauge, this is going to be my future cash flow. And after certain bookings, they would take away the money and divert the money to building another project. Before the RERA Act, this was fine. Now, huge financial discipline has been brought in. How? First, through the RERA designated bank account. If you are starting with a project and that project now gets registered, every 100 rupees that you receive towards a future prospective sale, so you will hand over the delivery of the completed real estate in, let's say, 2.5 years. You have received a booking amount of 100 rupees. 70 rupees will be deposited in the RERA designated bank account, and 30 rupees is available to the developer that he can withdraw, he can utilize for his own purpose, he can put it in a new project, or he can also choose to have the amount retained in the project that you're working in. But no more than 70% of the funds, at least 70% of the funds have to be deposited in the RERA account. The amount is 70%. From the 30, you may choose to have additional amounts utilized for the purpose of the project. But any amount that you receive at booking, at any other stages, 70% of that amount which you are receiving will have to be deposited in the RERA designated account, and that has to be utilized for the purpose of the project. So your amount is getting deposited in the designated account. Any withdrawals that you want to do from that account, they have to be only towards the land that you have purchased and payments towards it, or to cover your construction costs. Withdrawals will have to be based on the percentage of completion. So if your percentage of completion, you have, let's say, collected 1 crore rupees from 3 persons who have, or 5 persons who have made bookings, from that 1 crore, 70% will go only and only towards the RERA designated bank account. And then based on the percentage of completion of the project, you will be able to utilize that amount. If the project is 50% complete, 50% of amounts can be withdrawn for that purpose. All the withdrawals from the RERA designated bank account have to be certified by architect, engineer, and a chartered accountant. That is in the form 1, 2, and 3. The form 1, 2, 3, I had certain slides over there, but because of the time limitation, I'm not taking you through the details of the forms. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But the form 1 and 2 deals with the architect and engineer certificate. The form 3 is the form that on a quarterly basis for every project, a chartered accountant has to provide. The chartered accountant will certify that this was the amount collected. These were the amount that the total project had estimated or budgeted. Based on those estimated costs, what is the amount that has been spent? So our role as chartered accountants is to ensure that in that form 3, what gets reported as incurred and paid, that is the amount which the real estate developer has already debited to profit and loss account through incurred. That means koi advance aapyu hoy to nahi include karwanu. But if it's an expense debited to P&L and it has been paid, that is to say the amount has been disbursed out of your bank, you'll have to check the bank statement and ensure that the amount khali P&L ma udhar didu and creditor ubha rakhya to nahi ganaye. The amount has to be debited and the amount is paid out of the bank account. Then it is called incurred and paid, and based on that, the withdrawal can be done by the promoters. If the promoters are not able to maintain this, or at any time the authority feels that the project will not be completed, they have the provision to freeze the RERA bank account. And that power can be exercised by the authority. In fact, it has been done in some of the cases where they are taking charge of the bank account, freezing the bank account to ensure that the project gets completed. Huge powers have been given to the authority to ensure that if any project that they feel is not taking the right steps on completion of the project on time, and they are noticing fund diversion or some activity which may ensure that the project may not be completed, well, the authority has the power, of course, based on procedure of natural justice, to freeze the project bank account to take over the charge of the project. And therefore, a lot of people ask me, why are a designated bank account? It is for this very purpose, that if in the future there is a project that the authority notices which is not going on time, the builder has taken money from a lot of persons, allottees, and he is not doing any construction activity, they can freeze the account, they will take over the entire project and then ensure the completion of the project. And when they have to complete this project, well, you will need the funds in the designated account. Only then will they be able to ensure that whatever was construction required, they will be able to complete. If the money is not there in the designated account, It is not that they are going to take a loan and then complete the project. That is why they need this money in the designated account to ensure that if such an eventuality was to happen, the authority can complete the construction. Well, the project accounts have to be audited. The balance sheet and the profit and loss account of the project has to be provided to the ARERA under Form 5. Form 5 is nothing but your annual return. The only difference in the ARERA Act is whoever has been filing the Form 3. The Form 3 is effectively like an internal audit function of the organization, because you are certifying the cash flows, the incurred and paid on a quarterly basis. So those auditors or those chartered accountant firms or proprietors, if you have done the Form 3 of a particular project, you cannot file the annual Form 5. So typically what would happen is a Form 5 is filled up by the statutory auditor of that entity. Again, the Companies Act has a concept of statutory audit. If it's a partnership proprietor, there is no statutory auditor, but જે regular tax audit કરતો હોય, generally a Form 5 ભરે અને Form 3 એક બીજી chartered accountant ની firm કરતી હોય. The penalties in this act are very strong. We will discuss them. And very important is that now the act provides that the interest on delay is the same for the customer and promoter. So if you do not pay as a buyer or a lottie on time, you will have to pay the same interest. And if the developer doesn't complete the project on time, he will have to pay you the interest. The act provides and the rules provide that the rate of interest may be as the same which is mentioned in the agreement for sale. If the AFS is silent, માનાકતમાં કોઈ rate નથી લખ્યું, તો SBI નો જે MCLR છે +1 ના rate પર the amount has to be paid. Very important to note here, because of COVID, the government has already given these projects an extension. So if you have bought a real estate project and has been delayed, for example, due to COVID, you cannot expect an interest payment from a developer, because these 6 months, the project's extension of the deadline has already been provided by the government. This is with regards to the financial discipline. The other pillar of the RERA Act is transparency. Huge change that the act has brought in. Just one second. So we've discussed financial discipline. The second important pillar is to deal with transparency. Nowhere in the past, and all of you at some point of your time would have got involved in probably a real estate transaction, maybe buying or renting your own office, maybe buying or renting your own home. And in all of those transactions, you would recollect, if you were to go to a developer, he would give you a nice small brochure and say, this is the facilities, these are the amenities. Based on that brochure, આપણે booking ના પૈસા આપતા હતા અને જગ્યા લઈ લેતા હતા. Well, now the amount of transparency that has been introduced by the act, before you finalize that project, you can definitely look at the brochure, પણ દરેક brochure પર નીચે હવે એક registration number આપે છે, because the act requires that any advertisement that you do, your registration number must be compulsory. You go to that registration on the website of RERA and you can see all the details of the project. Project ના કેટલા units છે. ઘણીવાર brochure માં કંઈક હોય, actual બન્યા પછી આવે એટલે developer કે હા અહીંયા પેલી balcony આપવી હતી પણ આમ થયું ને એટલે અમે લોકો ત્યાં બીજો એક flat બનાવી કાઢ્યો. Well, not possible here. If it has to be done, he needs 2/3 consent of allottees. You can look at what are the types of apartments, what is the carpet area of each apartment, and most importantly, the entire information of the project, the land buy, whom did he buy it from, what was the consideration, what are the other approvals that he needs to seek. He has a plan been approved, so the plan from Buda or Oda or Suda or whoever is the authority, એના પાસેથી plan approved થયો છે, કયા તારીખમાં થયો છે, કયા ફોર્મમાં થયો છે. And therefore, if the project construction is happening, you can compare whether the project is turning out to be the same way as it was being shown in the plan, and whether the plan is the same as the brochure. You will not believe so many developers in the state have shown in the brochure a beautiful children's play area, અને પછી તમે બાય કરી લો અને તમારા પૈસા આપો ડિપોઝિટના અને છેલ્લે રહેવા જાઓ એટલે કે ના એ આપણે બનાવ્યું નહીં ચિલ્ડ્રન્સ પ્લે એરિયા, ત્યાં અમે પાર્કિંગ વેચીએ છીએ. I can show you so many people who have simply written a letter to the developer stating we will file a complaint with the authority if you are not giving us what was promised in the brochure. And what those developers also did was એ brochure એમને રજિસ્ટ્રેશનમાં ફાઇલ કરી દીધું હતું. જ્યારે પ્રોજેક્ટ માટેની વિગત આપે ત્યારે એમને એ જ brochure એમને આપ્યું હતું. So now there is no way they can deny that this is not the brochure that we had given. All these people had to ensure કે જે બી children's play area, બીજી facilities એમને brochure માં બતાવી હતી, all of those got covered and they had to build and construct this. So that is the level of transparency that has been brought in. Like I mentioned, if there are any major addition or alteration, any additional FSI બની અને એને બીજા ઉપર 2 માળ બાંધવા છે, once the project is registered and you are an allotee, he needs the consent of 2/3 of the allottees that yes, this is the change in plan that I want to do. Only then he can go to the authority of the urban development or the municipal corporation and get the change of the plan done. Plan change થાય અને એને પાસે 2/3 majority હોય પછી જ એ additional બાંધકામનું કામ કરી શકે છે. There cannot be any false claims or commitments in advertisement. Like I mentioned, the registration number is to be compulsorily mentioned. And not just this, you can see the quarterly progress of every real estate project in the country, on the state, on the portal. Of course, each state has a different portal. Therefore, I mentioned state because state-wise, તમારે portal બનાવવાના છે. પણ quarterly basis પર કેટલું percentage completion કામ થયું હતું, અત્યારે કેટલું થયું, એના physical progress ના photographs તમને જોવા મળશે. કેટલા units પહેલા વેચાયા હતા, કેટલા units અત્યારે વેચાયા. All that information is available on a quarterly basis on the RERA website. You cannot singularly, arbitrarily now cancel the units by the promoter. The entire process is very clearly laid out, and if there is any unjust cancellation of unit, directly the allottees are approaching the authority and the authority is giving them relief. The project is now supposed to be clearly giving a completion time frame. RERA પહેલા તમે ડેવલપરને પૂછો આ પ્રોજેક્ટ ક્યારે પૂરો થશે, તો કે 2022 ની દિવાળીમાં. There is no date. Now you can no longer mention vague answers. If it is 31st December 2022, you have to mention 31 December 2022. And if it is delayed, well, there is an interest cost. And like I mentioned, major changes, if you want to do, 2/3 allottees consent is required. You cannot launch or advertise the project before registration. એટલે જે પહેલા આપણે દાખલો જોયો કે મારે એક રિયલ એસ્ટેટની કંપની ચાલુ કરવી છે, ખાલી એક લેન્ડ બાયર જોડે ટોકન અમાઉન્ટ આપી અને મેં બાનાખત કરી લીધું. And based on that AFS, I put up a beautiful board, make a nice brochure, and I start collecting advances. Not possible. There's pre-launch, pre-booking, no longer possible. Pre-registration, 100 રૂપિયા collect પણ ના કરાય. In fact, collect કરવાનું તો છોડો, તમારે એનું brochure કે marketing કે advertisement પણ ના કરાય. So that is very clearly provided in the Act. Financial accountability, transparency, and also now the accountability, because the Act has laid down the responsibility. Quarterly return file કરવાના છે. Every officer of the company ની responsibility છે, અને જો offense કરશે અને નહીં થાય, he is deemed to be guilty and the consequences of the Act follow. Customer centricity. The entire Act's focus, like we discussed in the previous slide, is on the buyer, on the allottee. Information about the project, plan, layout, government ના કેટલા અપ્રુવલ લેવાના છે. જો રેલવેની પાસે પ્રોજેક્ટ હોય તો સેન્ટ્રલ ગવર્મેન્ટના રેલવે ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટની અપ્રુવલ જોઈએ. જો એરપોર્ટ પાસેનો પ્રોજેક્ટ હોય તો એરપોર્ટ ઓથોરિટીની પરમિશન જોઈતી હોય છે. If it is in the green zone, you need other environmental clearances. Before the project, all of these have to be listed. તમારે લિફ્ટ મૂકવી છે તો લિફ્ટ માટે લોકલ ઓથોરિટી કે મ્યુનિસિપલ કોર્પોરેશનની સર્ટિફિકેટ લાગે. All this is now available on the website. Imagine 5 years ago, if you had to buy a real estate project, nothing of this sort was available. Now all this information is available on the RERA website and portal, and therefore customer awareness is extremely high. Project is, and the entire process of real estate has been made customer centric. The importance has been given on timely completion. People ask me whether after RERA the consumer court cannot be approached. No, actually you can approach the consumer court. That Act continues to be there. One, કન્ઝ્યુમર કોર્ટમાં તમે સમયથી પ્રોજેક્ટ ના પૂરો થાય પછી જતા હતા. અત્યારે તમને લાગે કોઈ પણ સમયે કે આ પ્રોજેક્ટની સમયસીમા પ્રમાણે આ પ્રોજેક્ટ પૂરો નહીં થાય, you can directly approach the authority. And as I mentioned, the crux of this act is to ensure that the project gets completed on the time and the delivery of real estate happens within that time frame that is mentioned in the act. The quality of construction has to be ensured. અગર એને ડિફેક્ટિવ ખરાબ કન્સ્ટ્રક્શન કર્યું છે અને જો 5 વર્ષમાં એમાં કોઈ પણ ફેરફાર થાય, બલ્બ ઉડી જાય કે નળ ના ચાલે, વેલ ધેટ ઇઝ નોટ કવર્ડ. પણ સ્ટ્રક્ચરલી કોઈ ઇફેક્ટ આવે, ક્રેક દેખાય, બીજા કોઈ ઇશ્યુઝ દેખાય તમને કન્સ્ટ્રક્શનમાં, the act has now compulsorily mandated that for up to a period of 5 years a construction defect liability will have to be provided by the developer. RWA એટલે કે રેસિડેન્ટ વેલફેર એસોસિએશન, આપણા ત્યાં કોઓપરેટિવ સોસાયટીઓ બનતી હોય છે, for the management or the service society for taking over the charge of the entire property from the developer. કેમ કે શરૂઆતમાં સિક્યોરિટી હોય, મેન્ટેનન્સ હોય, ક્લીનલીનેસ હોય, બધું ડેવલપર કરતા હોય. But once it is complete and majority of the units have been sold, well, within 3 months you have to convert and transfer all of these facilities to a resident welfare association, and they will take charge of the property. No longer can the builder continue to have his hold on that. This gives the customers the power to run their society or their office premises based on their common decisions on a democratic manner rather than arbitrarily being imposed by the developer. We've discussed that 2/3 of the allottees have to agree. If there is a change in the plan, if he wants to add, for example, a new wing, a new unit, increase floors or make changes to the specifications, unless there is consent from 2/3 allottees, this is not going to be possible. And finally, compliances have increased. Never were the developers had to go in a systematic manner for registration. Now, before registration, બધા approvals એમને જોઈએ છે. એના પછી commencement certificate, કામ ચાલુ કરવાની રજા ચિઠ્ઠી, sanction plan, layout, all these informations have to be given in the registration itself, and the registration form asks this information. Brokers and agents પણ register થાય, એટલે કે developer એવું વિચારે કે હું પૈસા નહીં માંગુ પણ કોઈ બીજાને મારા વચ્ચે મોકલી દઉં એટલે મને એક્ટ ના લાગે. Well, not possible. Applies to developer and applies to the brokers as well. The website has to be updated on a quarterly basis. You can see in Gujarat, in fact, 90% plus websites and projects are updating their information on a very timely basis. And the time limit for extension is provided maximum 1 year. Of course, Bombay High Court orders, and now due to pandemic, this may change, but the act provided initially for maximum of 1 year of extension. Annual audit, જે project નું કરવાનું છે, એ chartered accountant ને કરવાનું છે. Like I mentioned, huge onus is given on this act to chartered accountants. In the pecking order of quarterly returns, after architect and engineers, it is chartered accountants. Our form is form 3, theirs is 1 and 2 because ours is the last word. So on a quarterly basis, we have the last word, and annually we are the only ones who are giving an annual audit report. A dispute resolution has to be provided within 6 months. All developers have to give their historical projects of the last 5 years, so your history can be seen before you are buying. A KYC of the developer is also done, and the act provides that the common areas have to be conveyanced in the favor of RWA. આ એક ટ્રિકી ઇશ્યુ છે. એક્ટમાં એવું લખ્યું છે કે જે પણ કોમન એરિયા હોય, એટલે કે જે એરિયા તમારો પોતાનો નથી પણ સોસાયટીને કોમન એરિયામાં વપરાય છે, સ્ટેર્સ હોય, લિફ્ટ હોય, કોમન ગાર્ડન હોય, જીમ હોય, કોમન ફેસિલિટીઝ હોય, those who does it belong to? The act very clearly states that builder cannot retain it. What it envisaged was that it must be transferred to the RWA, એટલે કે સોસાયટીને આપી દેવાનો. ગુજરાતમાં તકલીફ એ થાય કે આ જે કોમન એરિયા હોય એ હું કોઓપરેટિવ સોસાયટીના નામે જો ટ્રાન્સફર કરવા જઉં અને ટ્રાન્સફર કરવા માટે હું એનું રજિસ્ટ્રેશન કરવા જઉં, કેમ કે મારું એના માટે સોસાયટીએ કોઈ આવે જ નથી આપ્યો, and any contract without consideration is void ab initio. The registrar will not register such a sale. So what the Gujarat RERA Act provides, the rules provide for, is that the responsibility of the promoter is that the common areas will not be conveyanced in the favor of the cooperative society. But what you can do is, for example, મારો ફ્લેટ 200 વારનો છે અને અનડિવાઇડેડ કોમન શેર 40 વાર છે, તો મને દસ્તાવેજ કરતા જો હું 240 વાર પ્રમોટર અલોટીને આપી દે 240 યાર્ડ, જેમાં લખે કે 200 વાર્ડ તમારી પોતાની કાર્પેટ એરિયા, એટલે મારો રૂમ, કિચન, ડાઇનિંગ, બેડરૂમ બધું આવી ગયું 200 વારમાં, અને 40 વારનો મારો અનડિવાઇડેડ કોમન એરિયાનો ભાગ, સ્ટેર્સ, લિફ્ટ, ગાર્ડન, બીજી ફેસિલિટીઝમાં, and it gets conveyance to me because I am paying consideration. That is fine, but what the developer must ensure is that the maintenance of these common areas, the right to maintain them, should be transferred and handed over to the RWA, એટલે કે રેસિડેન્ટ વેલફેર એસોસિએશન કે કોઓપરેટિવ સોસાયટી. એટલે ત્યાં ફેરફાર કરવો, બદલવો, કઈ રીતે કરવું એ સોસાયટી નક્કી કરશે. that common area the builder developer cannot retain for himself. And the act also provides કે જ્યારે કોઈ પણ પ્રોજેક્ટમાં મલ્ટિપલ ફેઝિસ હોય તો ફેઝના અલગ અલગ રજીસ્ટ્રેશન કરવાના છે, અને એની ફી પણ ગુજરાતમાં હવે ક્લિયરલી દર્શાઈ છે કે તમારે દરેક ફેઝની ફીસ કઈ રીતે ભરવાની. You also, like I mentioned, have to very clearly in the compliance part ensure that you have to register every separate project before launch. એટલે લોન્ચ કે પ્રી લોન્ચ ભાવનું બ્રોશર બનાવી દો અને જો રજીસ્ટ્રેશન ના હોય, it is a violation. You have to ensure mandatory registration before any advertisement. So then what is the 70-30 rule? Well, this is the crux of the RERA Act, if you ask me. Whatever you are collecting, out of that only 30% can be withdrawn by the promoter without restriction. The 70% that is to be withdrawn in proportion to the percentage of completion. જેમ project નું completion થાય એ પ્રમાણે જ withdrawal account માંથી થઈ શકે towards the project cost. અને percentage completion કઈ રીતે ગણવાનું? We all know it. 100 કરોડનો પ્રોજેક્ટ છે, અત્યાર સુધી 30 કરોડનો ખર્ચો થયો છે, 30 ભાગ્યા 100 ગુણ્યા 100 એટલે 30% completion થયું. 40 થયું તો 40 કરોડ ભાગ્યા 100 કરોડ ગુણ્યા 100 એટલે 40% withdrawal તમે કરી શકો છો. Again, this law was made prospectively applicable. So જે પૈસા જે પ્રોજેક્ટ 1 જુલાઈએ ongoing હતા અને એમના જે પૈસા આવવાના છે, જૂના કલેક્શન માંથી તમારે કઈ ટ્રાન્સફર કરવાની જરૂર નથી, but every new amount that you were receiving, you have to transfer 70% to the RERA designated bank account. અને જો મારે કલેક્ટ કરવાની amount exceeds, or rather the construction cost that is estimated to be completed, that exceeds the total collections expected. 100 કરોડનો પ્રોજેક્ટ હતો, મારે 30 કરોડનો ખર્ચો કરવાનો બાકી છે, અને કલેક્શન જે મારે મેમ્બરો પાસેથી લેવાના છે 25 કરોડ રૂપિયા છે, then 100% amount of the amount must be deposited in the RERA designated account only. કેમ કે તમને ખબર છે કે બધા જ પૈસા કન્સ્ટ્રક્શનમાં જશે. પણ જો મારે પૈસા ઉઘરાવવાના 60 કરોડ બાકી હોય અને કામ 40 કરોડનું જ બાકી હોય, તો ઉઘરાણીના 70% જ મારે designated bank accountમાં મૂકવાના રહેશે. Why 70-30? Well, because that is what the government felt that is a reasonable industry standard of profitability on a project. 30% માર્જિન જનરલી હોય છે, એટલે એમને એવું કીધું કે તમે જેટલું કલેક્ટ કરો એમાંથી 30% તમે તમારો પ્રોફિટનો ભાગ વિથડ્રો કરી શકો છો બીજા પ્રોજેક્ટ માટે, બીજા કામ માટે. 70% તમારે આ જ પ્રોજેક્ટ માટે યુટિલાઇઝ કરવાના છે. And well, the withdrawals, like we discussed, every withdrawal is certified by architect, engineer and chartered accountant in form 1, 2 and 3 respectively. Chartered accountant has to certify the proportion of cost incurred on the construction. એટલે કેટલા proportionમાં કામ થયું, and our percentage completion is based on the financial outlay. એટલે estimated cost ના comparisonમાં કેટલું cost incur થયું એના બેસિસ પર કેટલું percentage completion થાય છે એ આપણે દર્શાવવાનું હોય છે અને calculate કરવાનું હોય છે. For reference, what are the standards, guidance, reference material available to you? Well, first and foremost, a very important publication 2 years ago which was released is Certification and Audit under RERA, which has been issued by ICAI at the central level. It has chapters covering all states and discusses about what the responsibilities of auditors are, of chartered accountants, what you must do in terms of when you are testing Form 3 or a Form 5, what are the documentation requirements. All of that is very clearly and specifically given. In fact, I can share with you that even the branch, Ahmedabad branch, has come out with a clear publication on Form 3, a very good publication. It is available online. I would request you to utilize it. Form 3 ભરતા કે registration કરતા તમારે શું ધ્યાન રાખવાનું, all of that is very clearly laid out in that publication. If you ask me as chairman of FRRB and as a council member, other standards in my view which you must always refer to, but before giving any certification in RERA, SA 620 talks about using the work of auditors expert. Cost કેટલી થશે એનું એસ્ટિમેટ મને આર્કિટેક્ટ ને એન્જિનિયર લોકો આપે છે કે આટલું પ્રોજેક્ટ છે, એમાં આટલા રેતી, સળિયા, કપચી, માટી શું થશે, એના બેસિસ પર there is the cost which is worked out, and that is the estimated cost that I'm using. So I'm using their judgment, I'm using management's representation which is given to me. So the work of an expert is being utilized by me. SA 620 should be referred of how a chartered accountant can use other professional expert. That gets covered in SA 620 because we are doing that when we are doing the function under RERA. There is a clear-cut guidance note on accounting for real estate transactions, which was revised in 2012. Very important because એ તમને કહે છે કે જ્યારે તમારે ફોર્મ 3 માં કોસ્ટ નું બ્રેકઅપ આપવાનું છે, લેન્ડ નો કોસ્ટ કે પ્રોજેક્ટ માટેનો કોસ્ટ, તો એમાં કયા કોસ્ટ કન્સ્ટ્રક્શન કોસ્ટ માટે ક્વોલિફાય થાય. મેં ખાલી કોઈ પૈસા આપ્યા અને ઇન્વેન્ટરી મારી પાસે આવી અને ઇન્વેન્ટરી સાઇટ પર જ પડી છે, that is not construction cost. Which is issued and consumed is construction cost. Similarly, marketing costs are not construction costs. All of these details are very clearly provided in the guidance note which was issued in 2012 for real estate transaction. There is a guidance note on reports or certificates for special purposes. I discussed this in detail in my last session at Baroda. Very nice guidance note. Certificates kaya format માં હોવા જોઈએ. And then written representations, management જે તમને આપે છે એને તમે એના પર રિલાય કરેલું છે, એ તમે ખાલી એના કહેવા પરથી ના કરો, but take it in writing from them in the form of written representations. That is covered here. So form 1, 2, 3, form 5, 3 is to be filed quarterly by chartered accountants. Form 5 is to be filed annually by a qualified practicing chartered accountant, not the person who has given the form 3. Then what are the penalties then under the act? Well, it's a very clear-cut, stringent provisions provided under the act. કોઈ પણ પ્રોજેક્ટ માં પ્રમોટર ની બી જવાબદારી છે, એજન્ટ ની બી છે, અને નોન કમ્પ્લાયન્સ જો ઓર્ડર ની થાય તો અલોટી ની પણ જવાબદારી આપવામાં આવી છે. In this one chart, I have covered all those penalty sections, tried to cover them in this one chart. If you are not registering the project, or the agent who is already doing agency work for real estate projects is not registered, well, the penalty for a promoter can go up to 10% of the estimated project cost. એટલે એક પ્રોજેક્ટ હોય, 6 વિંગ હોય અને દરેક વિંગમાં સમજો 40 અપાર્ટમેન્ટ હોય 10 માળાનું બિલ્ડિંગમાં, અને 100 કરોડનો પ્રોજેક્ટ છે, તો 100 કરોડની 10% એટલે 10 કરોડ સુધીની પેનલ્ટી થઈ શકે if you do not register the project. Of course, authority is not doing a penalty of that nature, but the penalty can run into this amount. Similarly, for the agent, the penalty is 10,000 rupees per day for the period of default, and it can be up to 5% of the property cost. એટલે 50 લાખનો ફ્લેટ વેચતો હોય તો એના 5% સુધીની પેનલ્ટી લાગી શકે. રજિસ્ટ્રેશન નહીં કરાવવાનું. If you are making a false information as a promoter, well, the penalty is up to 5% of the estimated project cost, and you will see here all penalties are on the estimated project cost, and that is why at the time of registration, assessing the project cost is very important. Once the estimated project cost is submitted, unless you have a change in plan, એટલે કે તમે નવો માળ બનાવતા હો, નવો વિંગ બનાવતા હો કે એવો કોઈ ફેરફાર કરતા હો જે પ્લાનમાં ચેન્જ થયું છે, તો જ તમને એસ્ટિમેટેડ કોસ્ટ ચેન્જ કરવા મળશે, or else the estimated cost remains same throughout the tenure of up to the completion of the project. And this is the case in Maharashtra. This is also the case in Gujarat. The only difference in Maharashtra and Gujarat, like I mentioned at the beginning, is the incurred and paid. Maharashtra does not ask you to certify incurred and paid. They allow you withdrawal on the basis of incurred, whereas in Gujarat, it is incurred and paid. Other penalties are up to 5% of estimated cost for the developer and property cost for the agent. That is contravention of the act, non-compliance of the RERA order. And if you are going to a tribunal and a tribunal no order to non-compliance, then the penalty can be up to 10% of project cost for the developer, and for allottee and agent it is up to 10% of that property in which you are supposed to buy or sell. How do you go then to the tribunal? Well, the tribunal has very clearly been granted powers. It can either do a suo motu investigation, which it does on the basis of newspaper reports or other facts, or it can call for details or information based on any complaint. કોઈ એ complaint કરી હોય તો એ બે methods થી suo motu અથવા based on this information they will call for information by the authority. Authority બધી જ suo motu investigation કરી કે complaint ના basis પર promoter ને allottee કે agent જેના વિરુદ્ધમાં complaint હોય એને બોલાવે, any details and information call for કરે, is given an opportunity of being heard as per natural justice principles, and then the order is issued by the authority. એ જે authority નો order આવ્યો એ કોઈ પણ aggrieved person રેરા appellate tribunal માં 60 દિવસમાં appeal કરી શકે છે. And the appellate tribunal, based on the hearing of this matter, which is to be filed within 60 days of the order of the authority, issues an order. If you are aggrieved by that order, then it can be challenged in the High Court again within the period of 60 days from the receipt of the order. So this is, like I mentioned initially, your role from just doing income tax or GST or finance of the real estate. You have now Form 3, you have Form 5, you have the appellate tribunal work. If you specialize in this act, you can appear on behalf of allottees, agents and promoters and ensure that you are given getting good professional opportunity. And finally, like I had said, as solution providers, which area, where should the project be, what should happen, all of those consulting areas also open up as a practice. The appellate tribunal, well, the rules have been notified. Just to give you a sense, and I'm conscious of my time, which is given to me, allotted to me up to 12:30. So I'll try and conclude very quickly. The sheer size of this opportunity that lies, and this is again 1 year old information, 1883 chartered accountants already registered on the Gujarat portal. The number will be very close to 2500 today as we speak. 2500 chartered accountant already RERA માં કામ કરે છે. So for those who are not working in this area, you must ask that question, why am I not involved in this area? And those of you who are, I would request, let's try and increase the ambit of our services and not just provide compliance services, but be a total solution provider. The 1883 CAs who are there on the RERA portal, they are spread across the entire state. વડોદરા અને સેન્ટ્રલ ગુજરાતમાંથી ઓલમોસ્ટ 266 એટલે કે 300 જેવા અત્યારના 300 થી 350 ચાર્ટર્ડ એકાઉન્ટન્ટ્સ આ એરિયામાં કામ કરી રહ્યા છે. હાઈએસ્ટ ઇન ધીસ એરિયા ઇઝ ઇન અહેમદાબાદ એન્ડ નોર્થ ગુજરાત. 900 ઉપરના ચાર્ટર્ડ એકાઉન્ટન્ટ આ એરિયાથી છે. And therefore, I'm very happy that our session Baroda થઈ રહ્યું છે as a sub-regional conference, and Baroda members will also take up this role because the sheer size of the growth, the new projects that are coming, and more importantly, with all these auto components, other manufacturers which are coming here, when those companies are setting up their employees, their leadership teams, their other staff will always require housing, and a housing બધા જ પર real estate act એટલે કે RERA લાગશે, and we can provide these services to all these foreign companies also. The growth of the projects in the state, well, if you compare it with population growth, very clearly you can see it here. કઈ રીતનું growth થઈ રહ્યો છે. કચ્છમાં 52% population growth છે. You can see there is 542 crores of investment which is coming in. In Panchmahal district, there are 5 projects, 32% of the population growth. This is the kind of data analysis that you can do if you have this information, and I'm sure with RERA 2.0 more and more information will be available. This of course was available through the RERA portal to me, but as data moves on online platform, the returns and the entire process becomes digital. Live data is available to us to make sure of how projects are registering, what is the movement, where are newer projects coming up. And for allottees, a huge confidence and transparent building measure has been enacted last year, and a year and a half ago. Every quarter, જ્યારે quarterly return ભરાય છે ત્યારે unit wise તમને દેખાય છે કે કયા યુનિટમાં કેટલા સેલ્સ છે. એટલે હું એક પ્રોજેક્ટનો ફોટો જોઉં તો શરૂ થયો ત્યારે આ હતો, એના પછીના ક્વાર્ટરનો આ ફોટો, પછી આ, અને ફાઇનલ પ્રોજેક્ટ પૂરો થયો ત્યારે this is the look of the project. All projects that you have invested into or bought into, this is the status images that you can see. Even block wise status of what is the level of completion. એક બ્લોક 65%, 66%, common amenities 36% ડેવલપ થઈ ગઈ છે. This is visible on the portal. And if you are a buyer, you simply move on from your cursor and select on your house number. For example, you have been allotted A605. A605 પર ક્લિક કરશો અને જો રિકિન પટેલે એ જગ્યા લીધી હશે તો RI **** અને L દેખાશે. So as a buyer, Rikin Bhai has tremendous confidence. Or if Abhijit Kelkarji has bought an apartment, simply by moving here, the builder has told him and given him an allotment letter. He has given him, let's say, an agreement for sale. But the largest confidence booster for him will be if he goes to the website of RERA. On that website, he goes and views that this is my unit. And if I go and see AB ... R, I know this unit is registered for Abhijit Kelkar. So the amount that I have paid, maybe as Rikin Bhai or as Abhijit Bhai, you can now clearly verify from the website of the RERA authority. And this is not only enabling consumer transparency for buyers, but huge amount of data analysis is being provided. I can show you this one map, which is, I hope, visible on your screen right now. The entire city of Baroda, where are the projects? What is happening, for example, in Tasali and Danteshwar area? Bilke Kalalima કેટલા પ્રોજેક્ટો થઈ રહ્યા છે એ બધા જ અહીંયા લાઈવ દેખાઈ રહ્યા છે. And the authority is ensuring that this information is given on a live real-time basis to the government. એટલે એવું ના થાય કે ઘણીવાર ડેવલપમેન્ટ થઈ જતું હતું બરોડામાં કે અમદાવાદમાં અને એ પછી રોડ, રસ્તા, ગટર, સુવેજની ફેસિલિટી આપવી પડે. Now on a live basis, these projects are being tracked and the government is getting live information from the real estate authority કે બુડા હોય કે BMC હોય કે વડોદરા મ્યુનિસિપલ કોર્પોરેશન હોય, આ એરિયામાં પ્રોજેક્ટ વધી રહ્યા છે, અહીંયા રજીસ્ટ્રેશનો આવી રહ્યા છે. પ્રોજેક્ટ બની જાય અને પછી તકલીફ થાય કરતા પહેલાથી ત્યાં રોડ, રસ્તા, સુવેજની ફેસિલિટીઝ, પાણીની પીવાની ફેસિલિટીઝ તમે આપી કાઢો, સ્કૂલ્સ બનાવવા માંડો. This is the kind of data intelligence that is being provided based on the entire online platform of RERA. So with this, due to the paucity of time, I'll try and conclude my session. I hope I've been able to give you an overview of the entire RERA Act, of what it entails. More importantly, what are the opportunities that lie there for chartered accountants, how our role as CS is changing, not just in the area of compliance, but more importantly, moving towards the solution provider role, advisor role, and ensuring that the real estate industry, when it is thriving, our practice also thrives. I once again thank Rikin Bhai, the entire managing committee of Baroda branch, for giving me this opportunity and inviting me to Baroda. And I wish all the participants the very best for the remainder of the session. Thank you very much, and over to you, TMOC.
Thank you, sir. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for lucidly explaining the overall prospects of RERA and changing the perspective with which we look at RERA. I'm sure today's session would be a game changer for many of us. All the crux delivered in a very simplified and a graspable way. With now, I would like to call upon CA Rikin Patel, Treasurer, Vadodara branch, to impart vote of thanks. To you, Rikin, sir.
On behalf of WRC of ICI and Vadodara branch of WRC of ICI, I thank Aniket sir for an excellent presentation, for a wonderful session, lots of information, lots of graphs. I think it was like a treat to see all the graphs where the projects in Vadodara are going on, how many number of projects are there. Excellent, sir, excellent. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time and joining with us from Delhi and completing the session on time. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Rikin Bhai, and my special thanks to all of you. I'm here for some examination work, so I'll have to proceed very quickly towards that. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you.
Okay, sir. For all the participants, we have a couple of announcements. MOC, back to you.
I thank Rikin sir for imparting vote of thanks. The moment of the faculty shall be delivered to them. Further, I request participants to please join us for the second technical session, which is on direct taxation by CA Paras Savla at 3 p.m. immediately after the lunch break. So please have a lunch break and see you for the next session.
And the
Thank
link
you.
one, which was given in the morning, the link one, wherein the normal link, not the multi-track link, the session would be on that normal link. Thank you.
Thank you.